Call of Duty, a massive multiplayer franchise spanning over 20 years and 23 mainline titles, Call of Duty has given its players countless of memories over the years.
You fucking faggot. Pussy. That's right. Yum, 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 I eat dick all day.
Giving people a fun arcade shooter with a massive amount of maps and guns to choose from. But in the more recent years, Call of Duty has become mostly just a shadow of its former self. And I myself haven't even paid attention to the most recent COD. While I have heard it's an improvement over Modern Warfare 2, it's not like that's a really big accomplishment.
I hate this fucking shit.
But after 5 years of skill-based matchmaking and the same old bullshit we've been begging the developers to change, we got some semblance of hope with a game called Xdefiant, made by Ubisoft. Oh fuck. So while I might be the absolute biggest hater of Ubisoft, I have to admit I've really been enjoying Xdefiant over the past week or so, even though there are some problems. And that's what I want to talk about in this video, just the things that I like about the game, what I think should be fixed or added to the game, and other problems that the community is facing. Before the video starts, I want to warn you that this video contains opinions, and opinions you might not agree with, and if that's the case, that's fine. I would love to see your guys' point of view on anything I talked about in this video, so feel free to leave a comment critiquing this video as harshly as possible. Starting off with the things I find enjoyable is the way the weapons feel. Every gun sounds punchy, and it's incredibly satisfying to get kills, especially when sniping. And pretty much every gun feels usable. Obviously, there's some exceptions, but not a lot of guns feel useless. And like I said, pretty much every gun, from the SMGs to the snipers to the marksman rifles, they all feel like they have a certain weight to every shot, making it feel incredibly satisfying. Moving on, something that also correlates to the weapon feel is the movement, which I've heard feels clunky, but in my opinion at least, it feels incredibly smooth and has a nice flow to it. And we're already seeing that it has the potential for an incredibly high skill ceiling. The movement is so good that there's a couple of things you might not even know you could have done with the movement. For example, you could jump and slide cancel jump over enemies with a riot shield. I don't have any gameplay of it, but you're just gonna have to trust me. Another thing I find great about Xdefiant that you don't see in COD anymore is the way the maps are laid out and just the overall look to them. Mostly featuring 3-lane maps, which are my personal favorite, but still having a couple of other maps. But for the most part, these maps are pretty hard to camp on, and compared to games like Modern Warfare 2019, that's a huge improvement. The maps also feel like they have a nice art style and overall theme to it. And having the maps be references to other Ubisoft games. So in the more recent years, the discussion of aim assist feels like it's a must-have discussion in any shooter, especially the COD community. And in Xdefiant, it's a discussion, but more on the fact of bad players being carried by aim assist, complaining about the lack of aim assist in Xdefiant. In Xdefiant, there's a clear lower amount of aim assist compared to COD, but the snipers specifically have 50% less aim assist than every other weapon class. And it lets the players who complain about aim assist constantly look like idiots, and as a controller player, it feels pretty nice, especially in the case of them actually being wrong about if aim assist is OP or not, because aim assist does have its problem in certain games, but in Xdefiant, it's just not the case. I'm sure you all seen this coming, but me, as well as a lot of others, feel incredibly saved by the fact that this game has no skill-based matchmaking. After being so used to being scared of actually doing good and it causing me to play against CW pros, it feels refreshing to have a game where I could drop 50 kills and the next game still have a fair chance of getting in a good lobby, not filled with movement demons and campers. And if I do get a bad lobby with sweaty players, I could just back out and get an entirely different game next time. And I have heard plenty of people complain about the lack of skill-based matchmaking and claiming that they're still getting shit on all the time, but at the end of the day, you're just outing yourself out as someone who benefited from skill-based matchmaking. Moving on to the things I would like to see added to the game, starting with more camos. There's already a decent amount of camos in the battle pass and the store, along with bronze, silver, and gold for every gun. And I have heard of a mastery camo for getting gold on every gun, but since the game's only been out for a week or so at the time of making this video, we don't know what that looks like. But I would like to see some more camos specifically for the snipers. I think there's only bronze, silver, and gold for all of the snipers, and I feel like something similar to the monthly or seasonal camo challenges on COD would work great. And for the camos themselves, I like the fact that the game isn't set in any specific world or year and seems to be slightly futuristic with digital ghillie suits and holographic shields, and I'd really like to see this get used to the game's advantage. Just give us cool steampunk or cyberpunk themed camos or something with some sort of holographic modifications, like a holographic ammo counter or something along those lines. And I do feel like instead of having bronze, silver, and gold, we could have diamond along with that, or just get rid of silver, because in my opinion it's extremely underwhelming compared to gold and even bronze. Another thing I would like to see added, which also plays into the camos a little bit, so I guess you could just say more cosmetics, but whatever. I feel pretty much the same way about the skins as I do about the camos, a decent selection with some that are a lot better than others.
Why are you blue.
But I feel like most of them look pretty boring and like the classic $10 mid skin that stays in the daily store for multiple days even though it's the daily store. This is something I've seen some people talking about, but more about the fact of there being no S&D instead of just more game modes in general. And I agree, I feel like S&D would be an amazing addition to this game, but I also feel like I would like to see more fun game modes. Stuff like gun game, one in the chamber, and prop hunt just to name a few. As well as S&D and free-for-all, I feel like those would make this game feel like there's more options. And probably more than any of those, I would really love a way to have a private match and be able to 1v1 people.
You.
I feel like that is incredibly needed. I can't stress it enough because not only does it give us the ability to 1v1, but we could also find out the exact damage a gun can do on each part of the body, as well as how other new additions work a lot easier. Now this isn't something I care about as much as more game modes, but I would still like to see it added, and that's a prestige system. Right now when it comes to actual player level, there isn't that much to work towards, and I just feel like having one more thing a player can aim to accomplish will only help. And I miss the days of seeing someone who was max prestige and looking at it as a major flex to the entire lobby. Going back to the cosmetic side of things, well there's already 3 characters for all 5 factions. I would like to see more options for playable characters for each faction that could be unlocked through the battle pass or in the item shop to separate them away from the 3 characters you could earn for free to give the players the option if they would rather not spend the money. But if they did want to, they could get something a little nice. And maybe even another faction, though I'm not entirely set on it. I feel like 5 is plenty, but if it's handled well, I think it could work out in Xdefiant's favor, giving players another option to the way they could play, even if it is just one extra option. Moving on to the community-based problems, basically what I mean is this is problems I see getting talked about or not, and whether I think it's actually a problem, and starting out with the fact that there's no kill streaks whatsoever, and I'm kinda torn on this. I genuinely don't think we need kill streaks in this game at all, especially when you already have characters with special abilities. I don't want this game to turn into COD.
That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
And while I do feel like a UAV would be really nice in this game, I feel like that would almost defeat the purpose of the intel suit, but I do also really want nukes to be possible in this game, even if it's handled how it was in World War II, where if you got a 25 or a 30 kill streak, you send a rocket onto the map, which is basically the same thing, as long as it ends the game and blows up the map. And while that can become annoying after a while, especially when people start getting really good at this game, I feel like it could be a nice addition. The next thing I've heard get talked about a lot is the lack of a kill cam after dying, which I'm not gonna lie, I completely agree with this one. I feel like a kill cam would be an amazing addition, and you don't really lose anything by having it in the game. And now we're at the one that you knew would be talked about. This is a huge issue that's been in Xdefiant since the game launched, and that's the netcode and the hit registration. I have seen a literal endless amount of videos of people emptying full mags into people and them not doing a single hit of damage. Okay, no.
Allies on the zone.
And I myself experience it constantly. Literally every game I get at least 10 plus blank hit markers. And I'm not even going to attempt to say how many times I've been shot around a corner that I ran around, because whatever number I say, it's not high enough. It's a major issue, and hopefully by the time this video comes out it will be fixed, because I feel like it's really holding the game back. Another thing I've seen get mentioned is how slow the weapon progression is, and while I could definitely say the weapon progression isn't fast by any definition, I feel like that's only because of the way the camos are set up, due to the fact you only need to get your weapons leveled up to a certain number to unlock bronze, silver, and gold. If the weapon progression was on the same level as COD, it would make getting gold a cakewalk, and while it isn't hard because all you need is to just get kills, it makes getting a weapon leveled up enough to unlock attachments a little slow. I feel like this could be fixed by simply making it take less total weapon XP to get all attachments unlocked, either by making you unlock them earlier in weapon levels, making it to where you would only need to get a weapon to level 20 maybe to get all attachments unlocked, or maybe somehow separating the XP needed for attachments and the XP needed for camos and make the XP needed for the attachments lower, but I feel like the other option is much simpler. One thing that I already knew was going to be a discussion in an arena shooter that has abilities in it is that if not some of the abilities are OP, all of them are. And while I don't think every ability is OP, a lot of people definitely do seem to feel that way. And while I feel like the cleaners are incredibly cheesy and annoying to fight, and the phantom shield and 120 HP is also very annoying to fight against, but besides that I feel like Echelon, Libertads, and DedSec are pretty well balanced and don't feel like you're just getting free kills, instead actually helping your teammates in some situations or giving you a slight advantage that a good player can better capitalize on. This is something that feels like it needs to be a discussion in any FPS game that has snipers in it, and that's that snipers are too OP. And I'm sorry, but you just need to get better. Okay, I am joking, but it's really not as bad as people are making it out to be. Yes, snipers are cheesy, but at the end of the day, the same people that are killing you and making you complain about snipers were not that good when they started sniping. And they had to go game after game going 10 and 25 and being at the bottom of the leaderboard to get to that level. Yes, any regular player might be able to pick up a sniper and get a few kills, and if you're a good player, you might be able to do fairly well with one. But at the end of the day, somebody who doesn't snipe can't pick up a sniper and experience the same cheesiness that's talked about with an experienced sniper. The part about sniping that could be considered OP is not the sniping that any average player can do their first time sniping, and in my opinion, that's what makes something OP, is if it takes no skill, and people who say sniping takes no skill are either lying, or can't drop more than 30 kills when an SMG and get upset because they keep dying to a sniper that has 50 plus kills. Alright, that's about it for all of the community-based problems. Obviously, that's not every problem that's been mentioned in the community, but if I did, this video would just never end. The whole reason I made this video in the first place is because I truly love Xdefiant. I think it's a great game with a ton of potential and a breath of fresh air from the way COD has been handled over the years. And as someone who grew up playing COD with my friends and making memories, I was so excited for this game to come out and relive the good old days of a nice fast-paced arena shooter with my friends. And I really want to see this game shine and still be a relevant title in a year or even longer than that. I would love to see this game become the new default instead of COD, and while that's a monumental task, it would be cool to see. Another reason I made this video is because I want to know what you guys think. Do you like Xdefiant? Is it just going to be another game that's trendy for a little then dies off, similar to Splitgate? Does it have the potential to rival COD? And do you disagree or agree with anything I like about the game, what I would like to see, or what the problems facing the community are? Like I said in the beginning of the video, feel free to leave a comment letting me know how you feel. And one more thing before the video ends, I want to remind you guys I have a Discord server where you can send ideas for future videos, questions that I'll answer in future Q&As, pictures of your setup for a future setup reaction video, along with a bunch of other things, and I'm usually active in there talking to supporters, so if you want to say what's up, you're welcome to. The link to join is in the description and in the pinned comment down below, so feel free to join. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, bye!